All the Money in the World. So All the Money in the World is directed by Ridley Scott. It stars Christopher Plummer as John Paul Getty. Not originally Christopher Plummer, it was going to be Kevin Spacey. In fact, the movie was finished filming and it was Kevin Spacey. We got a trailer where he had a big rubber mask. Then we found out Kevin Spacey was a dick and they were like, I think we can film all of Christopher Plummer's scenes in like 10 days. And they did it, and Christopher Plummer has his real face, not a rubber mask. It makes you wonder why they didn't just cast Christopher Plummer in the first place. I don't know. Point is, in the 70s, John Paul Getty was the richest man in the world and his grandson was kidnapped, and the kidnappers were like, we want $17 million, and he was like, no. So this movie is about that kidnapping. The mom, played by Michelle Williams, wants to get her son back, but she doesn't actually have that money. That money is the grandfather's money, John Paul Getty. And he just ain't budging on the matter. What I liked most about this movie, let's just bring it on, is Christopher Plummer. Christopher Plummer is awesome. He's amazing. You would never know this movie was intended or actually finished filming with Kevin Spacey or anyone else. You would think from start to finish it was like, yeah, it was always Christopher Plummer, right? And he's awesome as John Paul Getty. When I saw the trailer and you see Kevin Spacey's delivery of the line where he's all, nothing. And you see Christopher Plummer's where he's like, nothing. I was like, unpopular opinion, I like Kevin Spacey's delivery better. This is one line, it's one word, doesn't matter. Because it all goes out the window when you see Christopher Plummer own this role. He's what you are going to remember and talk about from this movie. This movie does a great job illustrating the disconnect that happens when you have that much money. When you have so much money, you don't need to worry about the concerns that other people in the world have. You just want for nothing. It is, in fact, like you're on another planet when you're like that. It's like you're a different species. So when they're like, oh, $17 million to save a life that's your grandchild, he's like, no. This movie does illustrate how someone could do that or be like that. As monstrous and weird as it is for most of the rest of us to actually comprehend. But in the end, the movie falls short on a lot of other aspects. I mean, the setup kind of bored me. I wasn't connected with any of the characters. What was happening was a kid was kidnapped. The grandfather's a rich, disconnected dick who won't pay the ransom, and the mom really wants to pay the ransom. You would think that would make for some awesome moments of tension between the two, but he really kind of dodges her calls and her meetings. So it's just like you are, in fact, watching history play out, and it's like you're watching events that sound really interesting on paper, but actually in film, it's not really as interesting. Not that there aren't interesting things in it, not that there aren't interesting characters in it. One of the most compelling characters in the entire movie, other than Christopher Plummer because he's awesome, is the main dude who first kidnapped the kid. I thought they added some complexity with him. But the rest of the movie's kind of bogged down. It's like kidnapping happened, we're getting to the end game. You just gotta see all the information play out in between to get there. It's like they were like, all right, the true story of the kidnapping of the grandson of the richest man on earth. What happened in that event? Well, not much at all, but we gotta fill a couple hours. Something happens about halfway through, possibly 2/3 of the way through, where I was like, oh, hey, here we go. And it looks like it's gonna actually get us there, but if you've bored me for the first half or 2/3, the last act isn't gonna actually bring it home for me. You've already kind of lost me at that point. And the visual appeal of the movie just looks like it was filmed through muddy shit. I've never liked this color palette they use in this movie. I see it in other movies that are supposed to be dramas. Usually historical dramas, like the colors are there, you know what they're supposed to be, but it kind of looks like this. It's just not as interesting as the natural color scheme of the world. It's like the movie's being told through an Instagram filter if the Instagram filter was actually named boring. Guys, in the end, All the Money in the World had enjoyment. Most of that enjoyment is Christopher Plummer. He carries this movie. He's actually in it a lot more than I thought he'd be. The fact that they were like, I think we can refilm all the scenes in 10 days. And it's an interesting story to tell. It's a story that should be told. A couple of good moments here and there. I'm just not gonna remember this movie as one of the movies of 2017. Maybe it'll be shown in classrooms, but for me, I'll say All the Money in the World would probably be a better time if you're drunk. Yeah, now it's a party. All right, guys, so All the Money in the World, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Or what did you think of Christopher Plummer in here? Whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.